Storms, alerting you, protecting your family. It's time for 10 Weather.
This storm tonight looking much more like a tropical storm, so let's get right into hour-by-hour forecast and what we expect. And just look at the explosion of clouds and storms northwest of Cuba and Cancun just in the last couple hours. Interesting little bobble here to the southwest as well since we last saw you early this evening, but a northwesterly track has begun as it's starting to look a lot more organized. Sustained winds still at 35 miles an hour and still technically Tropical Depression 9, but I expect that to change when you wake up in the morning as we get that 5 o'clock advisory. As the track again takes this into tropical storm strength, I think one of the more important things that's new tonight is the Hurricane Center has come more in line with what I was talking about in the last couple days of keeping this a little more southerly and bringing this in just north of Levy County and also right on the edge of Category 1 hurricane strength. I think the most likely thing is it'll be a tropical storm, but this has the chance as a cold front enters Georgia right as this is coming in Thursday night to wind up just enough. And if the wind shear isn't too strong, the right ingredients could come together as this is crashing ashore Thursday night, and it could just reach Category 1 hurricane strength. Now, that doesn't change any of the impacts you will see. Just don't be surprised if we go from tropical storm Hermine to calling it Hurricane Hermine right as it's coming ashore. Advisories tonight, there's a hurricane watch. That's the red line there. Coastal Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus County. What that means, hurricane conditions could be felt within 48 hours, and tropical storm warnings also up as well. This is where we got to hit the brakes. The rainfall amounts are very impressive. This is likely to be more of a rain than a wind event. Look at the time. Tomorrow night, 11 o'clock when I see you. Right after that, now we will have rain starting tomorrow, but the rain really starts tomorrow after 11 o'clock, and before you've even got through the morning commute at 9 a.m. Thursday, look at some of the rainfall amounts. Now, wherever the bands go, the heaviest rain line will shift, so don't bank on any one city that you're guaranteed to get it. This is more a general idea. I'm expecting already before lunchtime Thursday that we've seen on average 5 to 10 inches of rain, and there could be pockets that are already seeing a foot of rain. Don't be surprised if we have a few areas that get between a foot to 2 feet of rain. We saw that with Tropical Storm Debbie. That's not going to be the rule, but one or two communities, it is possible. The wind, again, this is not a dangerous wind event for us. 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds, gust around 40 and 45 on Thursday. You don't necessarily feel it on Wednesday. The wind, I think you'll notice Thursday and first half of the day Friday. But the rain timing on and off through the day tomorrow. I don't think we're having flooding issues Wednesday. Where this becomes a problem is overnight Wednesday in the first half of Thursday and then everything after that. So that's when I think we really need to be watching this the closest is after dark Wednesday night. You can see the heavy bands of rain coming in. As this storm gets stronger as well, this is where we could see water spouts and isolated tornadoes. We saw 7 of them with Debbie. So again, not everybody under that threat, but it is something we could deal with. Looking for the center to come in, still bringing rain first half of the day Friday, second half of the day Friday. Conditions improve drastically. So to summarize in your 7-day forecast, on and off rain tomorrow, but not severe weather, flooding rains, things like that. It's after dark Wednesday and through Thursday that we will likely see the worst weather, improving drastically second half of the day Friday, even though we'll likely have rain for the morning commute and still very messy. And for your Labor Day weekend, all 3 days, that storm is long gone. You're good to go. It is not a factor. And while we've got our eye on the ball with the TD9, shortly after Labor Day, we'll be tracking another low that could be a 1-2 punch. It looks like it's going to get into the Bahamas around Wednesday and Thursday. So it is the time of year for it, Reggie and Dion.
Bo had us all in stitches. Nice to see a little bit of levity during all of this.
Take it. I mean, I think a lot of people.
Let me tell you, you got to be a dedicated fan to get out there in that kind of match.
Well, and I think at some point too, I know football, you play in the rain, but good athletes get injured. So I think, and you know, they're going to make that call for both teams later tonight. If you're just getting home, look at the heavy rain just offshore. This is after everything we've gone through today. Some of the heaviest showers are really picking up steam just off of the coast. The time that would be due in to areas that have already been seeing these heavy storms today, we've got 626 in St. Pete. So about 10 minutes for downtown St. Pete, and moving into Indian Rock 6:33, Tampa at 6:55, and downtown up to northern Tampa, Hillsborough County, around Busch Gardens and USF about 7:03. Again, if you just got home and haven't seen, we are closing in on 11 inches of rain in Largo on our Sky 10 network at Indian Rocks Christian. Bradenton Beach, almost 6.5 inches of rain. And as we talked about in the live shot, Dion was talking about those wind gusts. At McDill, I've clocked 41 today, most winds between 33 and 35. Now, the wind may or may not have taken that huge tree down. Of course, our crew on scene will get the assessment. I almost don't wonder, too, if we haven't had too much rain in one area and the ground has just become loose and unstable. But obviously, we are working that story, and we'll have the answer coming up for you shortly. Little jog to the northeast on this storm, but you can see all of the heavy rain right here on the coast as we talked about over the last couple days. Friends, this is a map that rarely hits the air. This is more of a meteorological tool for us to see what's going on in the atmosphere. You're looking at water vapor, but I think this is important to tell the story of what we've seen and where we will go. All of the colors other than orange is moist air. So white to purple, green, and red, highly tropical moist air. If you watch this band right here, this is why I think flooding could be a big problem in some communities tonight. The jet stream's up to the north, so this is not getting carried off just yet. It's actually being turned a little bit. And out here in the Gulf, we've got a little bit of a high pressure that is acting, almost setting up a stall of these rain bands in the north. Until we see Hermine really move off to the north later tomorrow, what we're getting is the moisture comes up and it's getting turned on top of us. And then add to it, because of what we're seeing with the east side of this, it's being basically thrown on us and not allowed to move off all day today. That's why we've seen close to a foot of rain, because none of that tropical moisture has been allowed to go downstream. And I expect that through tonight, we're still sitting with these heavy rain bands right in this pocket. But sometime in the overnight hours and tomorrow, we should start to see improvement. But you can see this is potentially what could put us over the edge in some communities in the rain that we've already seen. We'll tilt this back. You can see the storms have gotten stronger in the last couple hours around the core. You can see that spin. So the track of this, for now, officially goes up around Panama City late Thursday night into Friday morning. The models I've been seeing this afternoon, I will not be surprised to see Miami shift this a little bit more back over the Big Bend area. They may not, but it also depends on how north or northeast we get over the next couple of hours. But I won't be surprised to see that closer to Levy County as the official track. But either way, tropical storm warnings are up for coastal Citrus, Hernando, and Pasco County. Hurricane watch as well. The Bay Area south is not. And a lot of people have been asking, will they be added? I don't think they will. I think if we see additional warnings added, it would be flood warnings for the Bay Area southward. Add to it, starting tonight, tornado threat goes up. We've seen a few weeks rotation in storms, so keep your TV on, stay on social media, WTSP.com, your 10 News app, because we may be covering some tornado warnings on top of the heavy rain. We deal with this storm again tomorrow. Early part of Friday, second half of Friday, we should be drastically improving. And all 3 days of your holiday weekend, that storm's long gone, but we look for some afternoon and evening storms, typical summertime, September stuff, all 3 days. However, the weather improves each day through the weekend, so Monday, Labor Day, looking the best.
All right, Jim, it's a 10 News weather travel alert for anyone flying in and out of town.
Tracking storms, alerting you, protecting your family. It's time for 10 Weather.
All right, friends, I think Hermine actually could be even a little bit stronger than the 11 o'clock advisory. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Our hurricane hunters, just minutes before the advisory was released, clocked a flight level wind of 104 miles an hour right on that right quadrant. Now, that is also with altitude, so as you reduce that down to the surface, usually that goes down about 10 miles an hour, but it does depend on if they were a little higher in altitude. So even if we went down more than that, 84, 94 miles an hour clocked as a 10-second wind measurement on the right front quadrant. So there's a chance that they may make a correction or an additional statement going into the overnight hours. The next one will be about 2 a.m., but that just hitting as the 11 o'clock advisory came out. Gusts have got around 100 miles an hour, and this is pretty much coming in right where we've been talking about for days, that it will likely be this Big Bend area in the next couple of hours, somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. where we'll see that come ashore. There are active tornado warnings in the Panhandle, and I want to alert you to the fact that tornadoes could come in the middle of the night. Tornado watch was extended until 8 o'clock in the morning for Pinellas and Hillsborough County northward. And look at how fast these storms are racing to the north. Now, the line's only coming to the east at about 8-9 miles an hour, but these storms I've been clocking at moving to the northeast at 63 miles an hour. As Hermine tightens up its curl, that's going to pull these storms faster to the north. So again, the line should start getting into our Nature Coast counties over the next couple of hours. It will likely be the middle of the night as this moves across the Bay Area, somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m. for Pinellas and Hillsborough County. And that's why I think it was such a good call for schools to just say, let's not mess with that for the morning commute. Let everybody enjoy the Labor Day weekend. We'll regroup on Tuesday. So the threats, what's left for you? Rainfall, the flooding threat will continue through Friday morning. The rain bands that came through earlier today were very quickly moving. This next band I think will stall, and I'll show you that timing. Tornadoes, rain-wrapped and overnight tornadoes are possible. So know that we're here all night tonight. We're not leaving the station, and if warnings come out, we'll be on TV, but add to it, we'll be doing Facebook Live. We'll be doing streaming. So there are other ways to find us. As far as the sustained winds, by the way, find us at WTSP.com, and just in case you didn't know the website, or follow us on Twitter, WTSP 10 News. Those howling winds, you're going to hear them through your window overnight tonight. Those decrease after lunch tomorrow. This is what I'm talking about, that we still have a lot to go with this storm. As you look at Futurecast, I think this next band actually gets stalled over the I-4 corridor and northward. Look at 4 and 5 a.m. and how this just sits right on top of the bay. So we will likely get what's called training, where one cell after another moves through. And you can see it's mid-morning and lunchtime before we finally turn the faucet off. So when do we turn that faucet off? Well, let's talk about it. It will be going into Saturday, and on Labor Day weekend, conditions improve. So these howling winds that we've got at 30 miles an hour and 35 miles an hour, they will finally get out of the way in your forecast on Saturdays. You take a look at the next 7 days, 60% coverage of storms only afternoon and evening, and both Sunday and Monday down to about a 30% coverage of storms, looking much, much better. Back to enjoying your Labor Day weekend. Looking for a high of about 89 degrees. It will be hot and humid and only some evening storms. So we will be watching at least for the next 24 hours. Don't forget, overnight, if you want to follow along on alerts, Twitter at James Van Fleet, Jim Van Fleet Weather. Not only do you get those alerts, but you also can follow in on the tropics. Okay, guys, so we've been talking about tornado warnings would be possible over the next hour. First ones come out right on the Hillsborough and Pasco County line. It is moving very, very quickly. I'm going to get to the wall here in just 1 second, but it's this storm. And Kate, I'm also have you drive, but let's get a look at this and what we are tracking. Moving to the north at about 45 miles an hour. So let me set the track here on this. In fact, our live Storm Tracker 10 already has this in Pasco County. So the warning is going to be Central, Hernando, and Pasco County. Timing on this, here's a look at it. Got it for Greenfield at 5:44. You've got 15 minutes. 5:47 Lois, Shady Hills 5:49, and around Spring Hill at 5:55. It's this, and it's pretty moderate rotation that we're seeing. I'm going to advance this, Kate, 1 notch right there. If we can zoom in a little bit, Kate, this is going to be west of State Road 44, and then put a track on it. But let's get real close. We can see streets here. Okay, right there. So here is Odessa across the county line. So this is going to be east of Keystone and 589, which is, I believe, is the Veterans, right? 589 running up into Pasco County. So let's go north on that track, Kate, if we could, straight up 589. This is moving north at 45 miles an hour. Come right across State Road 52 there. In fact, you can zoom out a little bit. I just want to get some of the roads there. But west of Drexel, on the east side of Odessa there, you can zoom out and let's go a little north here so we can get some towns on this track into Hernando County. Basically, take it right up to Spring Hill if you would. And so the tornado warning is radar indicated. Here are the times. Greenfield 5:41, Lois 5:44. So you've got about a 15-minute heads up. Now, chances are, as fast as these are moving, and with tropical systems, this very easily in 10 minutes or so could weaken, and you may not have an actual tornado. But I want to go back on the radar. This area right here, this is why tonight's tornado warnings that we are anticipating will be one of the more dangerous ones, other than middle of the night tornadoes, because right where the rotation is located is going to be where some of the heaviest rain bands are. I think that's our notch right in this area here, just east of Odessa. So if there is a tornado, that's going to be it right here, coming up east side of 589 and west side of US 41 through central Pasco and into Hernando County. And we'll go back to our velocity right here. Very tight couplet. That is actually very, very strong rotation. Zoom right back down, Kate. You can go right on into it. Thank you very much, hon. Right north of State Road 54, east of 589. So running the toll road, I believe, all the way up just south of State Road 52. Radar indicated, but what you want to do is move into your tornado safe areas. If you're new to Florida or not sure what that is, we're going to take you step by step. Turn the TV volume up if this is you in central Pasco County. We will sound the all clear when the warning is over, so you'll know that you can come back out. But that way you can still receive information. Don't forget, a lot of storms in Florida knock power out. We are streaming this broadcast, WTSP.com. You can take your laptop, your iPad, on your phone, maybe an easier option. That way, if you lose power at your house, you're still getting a cell signal off of the towers. The 10 News app, you can search in your app store. If you don't have it on your phone, it's free. It takes seconds to get it on your phone. You will have it in moments. And if you lose power, you're still getting the safety information and the broadcast of 10 News. So as this tracks to the north at 45 miles an hour, what you're looking at is what we call velocities. But I'm going to break this down because this probably just looks like a big mess to you. It's very simple concept. The radar, Storm Tracker 10, is literally listening to the rain. Just like a train going down tracks and you hear it blowing its horn, it has a certain pitch or frequency, a sound. And when it goes right by the road, that sound changes as the horn's blowing. That's the Doppler shift. That is literally what you're seeing on your TV. The Storm Tracker 10 has a certain sound of the rain going away from the radar, and it's a different pitch and sound coming at the radar, which is down south here in Tampa. So away and towards, side by side, is rotation. And that's what you're seeing on your TV right now. It is the pitch or frequency of that rain and rotation on 589 central Pasco County. Okay, if we can zoom out and we'll put a track again, because if your phone just went crazy and you're nervous and just landed on the TV channel or on the app, I want to let you know this is not for all of Pasco County. This is right in central Pasco County, right around the Veterans, running up in two areas of Hernando County. Would have the potential of being a tornado on the ground, moving into Lois in about 14, 15 minutes from now. And then around Shady Hills at 5:49, Spring Hill just a few minutes before 6 o'clock, South Brooksville around 6:02, Brooksville about 6:04. And I want to step back over into the Weather Center for just one moment, check our chat and see. Paul, who is a great ham right now, is saying so far they're talking on ham radios, but don't have any confirmation of any ground truth just yet. And I'm not sure that we would, because if it is rain wrapped, then I don't know that we would actually see that. So we want to be extremely careful in central Pasco County if this is you. I'm going to switch back over to the radar so it looks more like what you're used to seeing at home and get a better visual of this storm. So this is live Storm Tracker 10 right here. And if we are seeing it, it would be right there in this area between Aaron, northeast of Odessa, tracking north at about 45 miles an hour. In fact, it looks like on the radar there is a little bit of a hook there. So it may be off of the rain base. If there is something on the ground, this might be one of the cases where there could be a visual of a funnel or a possible tornado. But between the next 10 minutes, Greenfield, Lois, Shady Hills, take your tornado precautions, centermost part of your house. And if you're in a multi-level home, want to get on the first floor. Don't want to be up on the second or third floor. Indications are at this point no ground truth from spotters. We don't have that of a visual, but this tornado warning will go till 6 o'clock. And I will say right there, it looks like that hook might have kicked a little bit to the right, Kate, which can indicate sometimes if we do have a tornado on the ground, we do often see a little right kick of a storm or a turn to the right. A lot of times the whole storm kicks a little bit east, but you see right here, that notch right there, and then watch in the next frame how it jogs just a little bit northeast. So that's the area we're watching for a possible tornado. And as far as ham radio and spotters in the area, we don't have a confirmation that it's on the ground. But if this is you in central Pasco County, southwest of Loyce, southwest of Greenfield, between 589 south of State Road 52 and west of State Road 45 or US 41, you want to take your tornado precautions. We'll get right into street level here on this, and this would be just west of Watercolor Drive, right just to the west of St. John's Road. Go ahead, Kate.
Jim, if you want me to drive a little bit, we are hot right here in the Weather Center. If you want to go ahead and you're walking back to the wall. Okay, so he's going to be head back to the wall, and I'm going to drive for you. But yeah, this is a dangerous storm. So again, locations that could be impacted: Gowers Corner, Garden Grove, Shady Hills. Looks to be moving just to the north of Odessa and Cheval. But you want to move to an interior room, the lowest floor of a sturdy building, so a bathroom with no windows. That's a good place to go. As you know, we don't have basements here in Florida. Move to the closest substantial shelter if you have some time. You're in a mobile home park. Sometimes they have a recreation center that is a lot more sturdy of a structure, and that's why it's important to move to that direction. So yeah, Jim and I, we have been watching that line just about pushing on shore with the rotation around Hurricane Hermine. We are under a tornado watch until 11 p.m. this evening because the conditions are favorable. We had 2 tornado warnings earlier today. Thankfully, no reports of any damage. We've been checking the wires, and right now not seeing any reports of damage. But yes, this continues until 6 o'clock. So that's another 23 minutes to go. It is moving north through Pasco County. Again, if you are in the cone, you need to take shelter now. The storm track that we have put on, not the cone of Hermine. So Jim, if you could go ahead and maybe
yeah, this is there's definitely a hook on this.
I'm going to show some.
And it is still, I'm going to switch over to your computer and let you drive and set up on one, Kate, but you can see right here, there is definitely a hook. So the storm cell's up here in Greenfield, the heavy rain's coming down. It is not quite to you in Greenfield or Loyce just yet, but you want to go ahead, if these are your communities in Pasco, and be watching this in central Hernando County. Right here, you see this, how it curves back. If we have a tornado on the ground, that's it right there, east of State Road 589 and approaching State Road 52. Also watching what could be a weak hook over here. There's no warning on this storm just east of Jasmine Estates and Bayonet Point, but it looks like there could be a little bit of hook trying to develop there. But by far, this looks like a supercell out ahead of the line that I'm tracking, and we're not taking our eye off the ball, friends. There is a massive line getting close to the coast as well. I'll switch back over to one, and you can see, well, there it is. Yeah, so it is showing up. There's a little bit of weak rotation there. So I don't think they've issued a warning on this, but I know Ruskin is watching this one. By far, you can see that rotation much stronger here west of Dupree Gardens and Erin. But Greenfield and Loyce, if I can give you any relief, I will say this rotation is becoming a little more broad and not quite as strong. So as that crosses Pasco Trails or State Road 52, hopefully this is relaxing a little bit and pulsing back down. So at the current moment, there's still a tornado warning for 20 more minutes, but that scan looks much better on velocities as this is crossing State Road 52 right now, headed for the Greenfield area over the next 3-4 minutes. So make sure you're taking your tornado precautions. Bayonet Point around Moon Lake Road, east of Jasmine Estates. I'll be watching this very closely as well for northwestern Pasco County, as again, that might bring up some rotation. Kate, on 3, could we bring a wider view of that line that's coming in on the coastlines too. I think we need to keep a close eye on that. And then again, for those of you west of US 41, east of State Road 589, or the veterans, and around southern parts of, well, south of State Road 52 or on State Road 52 in Greenfield and Loyce, we need to watch this very, very closely. Now, I want to flip over to the bigger picture, and if we can come down in on this line right here that's just off of the Pinellas County coastlines. So what we're watching, these cells out ahead of the main line are supercells, and so they're taking a lot of energy in the atmosphere away from this line. But as this comes in, the possibility of a brief water spout or a quick little spin up will be possible, and this is expected to move in the 6 o'clock hour in Pinellas, coastal Manatee, coastal Pasco County, and then 7 and 8 o'clock hour up in Hernando and around Citrus County. So back to this storm right here, there's still decent rotation. It was tighter in areas south of State Road 52, but Greenfield, let's stay in our tornado precautions in the centermost part of your house, as we could have a tornado on the ground. And there's still some wide, broad rotation west of Lakemont Drive and east of Little Road here, east of Hudson, where we had a tornado warning a little bit earlier today. I don't know if there's any ground truth to that one, but we've got ham radio operators talking to spotters in the field, and we'll get an idea if something did touch down. But just make sure if you're in Greenfield, Loyce, and then even downstream in Spring Hill, that we are watching this very closely. About another 15 minutes on this tornado warning. Couple things again, if you just landed on the TV channel or your phone went crazy and you're searching for information, we get it. So just to recap, the reason your phone went off, if you're in Pasco County or Hernando County, it is not the entire county. It is central and northern Pasco, central, southern Hernando County. Everybody else all clear currently, and you don't have a storm that could produce a tornado. If this is your area, what you're looking at on television is Storm Tracker 10 listening to the rain. It has a sound, a pitch, and rain moving away from the radar, which is down in Tampa. You can zoom out, Kate, and show where the radar is based. It may make it a little easier to understand what you're seeing. Right here in Ruskin is our radar. So it's based here, and it's listening as it spins around. Moving away from that radar has a color, that red. Moving towards the radar, it has a different sound, a different pitch, much like an airplane taking off from Tampa International. You'd hear it coming across the bridges if you ever plane watch, and it sounds one way, and then when it passes by you, the pitch drops or it sounds different. That's what the radar is listening to. It's the Doppler shift. So inbound right here coming at the radar, outbound right there going away from the radar, and if it's side by side right by each other, that is rotation. And that's what we're seeing. So all these colors that look so complex and so confusing, it's really very, very simple once you know what you're looking at. So hopefully that gives you some bearing as what's going on. So let's zoom back down into this. It looks like it's crossed into
Hernando.
Yeah, well, actually we've got a couple areas of rotation. There's a new spot right there. And as so Greenfield, the one that has the warning is currently on you right now. If there is anything touching down, we're watching one area of weak rotation here. This looks like it may be trying to spin up a little bit around Powell, south of, it'd be east of Spring Hill and south of Brooksville. I want to say it's under the banner, but I think that'd be right about where Brooksville is. So tracking to the north at 45 miles an hour, that might hit the west side of Brooksville. That is not the warning. It's an area that we're going to watch closely. But Reggie and Courtney, I think if we do have, Kate, if we do have a potential tornado on the ground, that'd be it around Greenfield.
Jim, we're just getting reports that the folks down at Ruskin, they have canceled the tornado warning for Hernando and Pasco. So right on the edge, though, we're going to continue to monitor these cells as they move in, because as you can see, definitely there is the potential for severe weather. And look at that line. That line is just off the shore, stretching from southern Pinellas County all the way into portions of northern Pinellas off the Nature Coast. It looks like we may have dodged a bullet with this one, but we are still watching for additional cells to move on shore and produce that rotation.
So Indian Rocks Beach, Reddington Shores, that line's about on you right now. The 6 o'clock hour is where this will move across. We'll need to watch this very closely. What was right around Greenfield, that's it right there, the notch. So Reggie and Courtney, the tornado warning canceled. Good news, and that's what we've basically been analyzing, is that it looked like rotation had relaxed. So we are working the phones and our crews in the field. We'll get some ground truth as to did something touch down or not. But this line and what's behind it, all of this tonight will have to be watched. It'll be a long evening, and I expect more tornado warning possibilities. 10 News Special Edition at 5 is going to continue shortly after this. We'll have more on your forecast and reporters all in the field. The pictures will start getting impressive here as this line hits the coast. We'll see you in 2 minutes with the details.